Yes, you probably didn't know it, but your logical mind is not on your side when it comes to spirit communication. We're going to unpack this and dive in deeper and help you understand that you need to kind of know what you're up against if you want to continue to connect with someone after they've crossed over, which you can do. And a lot of people in our live chat will let you know that they're doing it. Okay, so this is real, and we're going to go into it. So stick around. So the first thing I want to talk about is why is it that it's so difficult to get our mind, I'm talking your conscious, physical, logical mind, on board with this whole concept. But if you really think about it, even though mediumship has been around literally for, and I looked it up, you can go look it up too, go look at AI, check it out. It's about, only about 15,000 years. This has been with us, I think, but from the dawn of time. Man has always been interested in understanding the nature of existence, because if someone you love physically dies, you can't help but wonder, well, where did they go? And as it turns out, they don't go anywhere. They're still here. And in fact, more indigenous people understand that now. This is not such a mystery to them, but to us in the Western world, we're only beginning to open up to the idea that spirits don't leave. They're still present, and we're not talking about ghosts, although if you want to use that term, fine, go right ahead. But because we are spirit beings, you and me right now. I'm a spirit, you're a spirit. So you could say maybe like we're ghosts in waiting or something, right? When we drop our physical body and we transition, then we will return to fully being a spirit. But right now, while you and I are here, we still are. You always are. You can never stop being the spirit that you are. It's impossible. So what we're talking about here when we're in a physical body is understanding the mechanics, literally the mechanics of what's going on, and why we have literally two minds. You are of two minds, not just your logical physical mind. That's only one part of you. And yes, for most people, maybe you, it's the dominant part. It's the part that is analyzing, is always looking at things, looking at the pros and cons, trying to analyze, just figure things out, right? Because life can be challenging. We all know that. So the physical mind, if it's been given full reign and it's not been tempered by your intuition, which comes from your higher mind, then what's happened is the physical mind is more in power and is stressing, actually, because it's doing for you what it's not been designed to do, because it's not capable of being intuitive. It doesn't have the big picture. It doesn't even know who you are as a soul. It's only designed to deal with the physical world, to help you not crash into another car when you're driving your vehicle, to help you calculate the taxes that you owe when it comes tax time. It's only meant to help you get through this 3D physical world, and that's it, folks. It has, again, no psychic awareness of what could be the best step for you, because it only knows what it already knows. It only knows what it's been programmed to believe in. In other words, what your parents or your friends or society told you was true. You accepted it. That's your programming. We've all gone through that. There's nothing wrong about that. It's how it is. But because of that, it means that what you believe to be true might not really be true, not from the broader perspective of who you uniquely are as a soul, as a spirit being who only for the time you're here occupies a body, has a body, right? So you have to understand that first, how things are set up and why people's beliefs, whether those beliefs are positive and supportive or negative and limiting, how their beliefs play out in their life, in the world that they create, in their relationships. Everything is a reflection of your inner being, of your beliefs, your fears, your trauma. You can't get away from you. So, therefore, your logical mind, if you've been a person that's functioned primarily that way, if you start to lean into more of your intuition and wanting to connect with your higher mind, which if you can do that would mean you're a complete person now. Otherwise, you're literally a half wit, like you're only got half of your mind, your logical mind, and you're missing out on the wisdom and the insight and the truth that only your higher mind can bring you, right? Why do you think the world is so crazy? Why do you think people are so confused and lost and clueless and don't know who they are and don't know what to do with their lives? It's because they literally only have half of a mind, right? It's because if you live on only from that part of you, your logical, rational, conscious, physical mind self, your life is going to be a mishmash of all kinds of things, and you won't know who you are at your core. So, of course, you're going to feel perhaps, lonely or disconnected or confused because you're operating your system with this false logic and limiting beliefs about yourself and the world around you. So, that's why we say when you're spiritually waking up, one of the first things that happens is people usually start to reassess, like, what do I really believe is true? Who am I really? Because many people are running these assumptions of who they are. Maybe because they were told that they're not creative, or they're told that they're not going to amount to much, or that life is supposed to be hard. How many people have been told that? You got to work really hard at life. Who says? Why not bring in the belief that things can go easier for you? Because they can. You can create whatever you want to create, but you got to believe in that. So when we're talking about spirit communication, connecting through the veil, this is what you're up against is, first of all, the consensual reality we share with everybody, right? There's usually a mass consciousness we're dealing with where you and I can understand that most people, the average person in the world, doesn't believe that you cross over to the other side and you can stay in touch. They don't even necessarily believe that there is an afterlife, let alone that if there was an afterlife that you could maintain communication. And even if you did believe that you could have communication and you could go to a psychic medium who can communicate, help you connect with your loved one on the other side, even if that's something you believe in and have experienced, what's after that? Do you believe that you can connect yourself, that you can have that communication? And then if you say, okay, I believe I can have communication, hey, I have had communication, right? Maybe some people have had it. I know people who've had it. Then the next question, the next level, the upper level is, can I continue to have that on a daily basis? Can I continue to engage and be with and interact with my loved one and others in the spirit world? That is literally the highest level that even most spiritual seekers don't understand or wouldn't necessarily agree on. I know because I've been in this field for 38 years. And I know because I actually have met mediums that don't believe that we can continue these relationships or that the average person should even pursue that. So, do you understand that this is why I say your conscious mind, your is your biggest challenge, and it's the reason why people fail, because there's all those things working against you in that sense. Okay, that it's the society at large, then even the spiritual community, even people who are intuitive, even mediums. Many of them don't even want you to connect directly because it affects their pocketbook. Let's be real here. Not all of them, of course, because there's some many very caring, compassionate, authentic, legitimate mediums who support their clients to learn to be their own medium, which is what we teach, by the way. If you don't know who I am, I'm Pam Johnson. My husband was a psychic medium. He's on the other side. He left this world 5 years ago, came back the next day and said, "We're here to teach people how to continue their relationships." And I said to him, "What? I didn't know that was possible." And he said, "You'll find out soon." And here we are 5 years later, and we have a thriving community that we teach on School. Our community is the name of this channel, Be Your Own Medium. Go check us out, school.com. And this is a real thing, people. Okay. And not only is it real, in spite of all the negativity and the limiting beliefs that people have about it, and the skepticism and the doubt, again, which I understand, this is going mainstream. If you doubt me, go and check out Stephen Bartlett's recent video on his Diary of a CEO, where he has a guest who's a neuroscientist who wrote a book in part because she was having communication with her husband after he died. And she's talking about it, and he's listening to her. And sure, if you go on his channel, you're going to read people's comments blasting him or saying this is evil or this is wrong or impossible, putting her down, putting him down. But I want to give credit to Stephen Bartlett and anybody else who's out there telling the truth about this, because this is a huge thing. It's the most important thing that I can even imagine, to understand the nature of reality, the fact that we do not die, the truth that our loved ones, many of them, I'm not saying all of them, many of them want to stay in touch with us, want to help us, want to love us, want to be part of our world, because the truth is, folks, they've always been here. This world is not what you think it is. And recently, more scientists are coming out and saying that, and they're being ridiculed too, because that, again, is what we're all up against. So if you want to be your own medium because you want to communicate and connect with loved ones in spirit world and or your own spirit guides and angels, then you need to ignore the naysayers. And not only that, you need to understand how your logical mind works, because it's going to tell you things like, this is dangerous. How do you know you're not making it up? People are going to laugh at you. You're going to get locked up. Like, this is crazy. This is dangerous. You are under the influence of so many past lives, which are actually concurrent lives happening at the same time. But there's so much fear and really a lot of misinformation around what it means to be psychic, what it means to be a medium. That's what you're all dealing with here. So if you don't understand that, then it's easy for you to just believe your physical mind. But here's the thing you need to understand. Your physical mind is programmed only for this reality. You're asking it to give you insider information about a reality that it doesn't know about, because that's not its job. Its sole job is just to perceive whatever you experience, even if what you experience is something paranormal. So if you experience something like you see the spirit of your loved one, and by the way, I've met a lot of people who've had those kind of encounters, seeing their loved one after they passed, like seeing them physically or feeling them. all kinds of contact happens. But if you have that happen to you and you're asking your physical mind, what is that? What do you think it's going to say? It's going to tell you, let's get the hell out of here. Like, this is crazy. This can't be real. That's your programming. You cannot expect your physical, logical mind to fully embrace what it doesn't understand. So it's going to take time if you want it to not necessarily agree with this, because it might not ever, but if you want it to just tone down and not be upset and not like just tell you you're making it up or throw off all these limiting beliefs, if you want it to quiet down with that, then you have to understand that it won't initially cooperate. Because this is what the number one reason I feel people fail at becoming their own medium is that they don't get it. They just assume, because remember, you've lived your whole life letting your physical mind run the show, trusting its so-called logic, even when that logic got you into trouble because you thought that it gave you the best analysis. But guess what, guys? Analysis isn't intuition. Intuition wins by a mile. Logic is only telling you based on what it knows, which is very limited, based on what it experienced in the past or what it's read recently. Then it's going to analyze it from that framework. It's like the dumbest version of AI you could imagine that can't even calculate anything. I mean, really, AI is smarter than your logical mind. But at this point, probably most people know that, right? Most people are turning to ChatGPT. They know that their physical mind doesn't know even 1/16 of what AI knows. Well, that's what you're dealing with. Your higher self knows more than AI. So if you want to compare anything, compare your intuition to artificial intelligence, because you're plugged in to source consciousness. And that's why people get these inspired ideas. It didn't come from their logical mind. They might think it did, but no, all the original inspired thoughts, the truth that you receive is coming from the expanded version of you, your higher self. Could be coming from your guide. It could be coming from a loved one, but it's not coming from your logical mind. And most people walking around on the planet have no idea of this that I've just shared with you. But now you do. So the question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to just walk around expecting your physical mind to understand everything, give you the insight that you're craving or looking for because you're trying to understand how to live your life? Well, you're only going to go in a circle, because the logical mind only knows what it already knows. So it's only going to regurgitate back to you what you already know or what you already experienced, because it believes that must be it, because that's all it knows. So how can it do anything but give you that? So if you want to succeed at this, okay, first you have to understand what you're up against, and you can break through it. But first you have to know your logical physical mind is not your friend when it comes to spirituality in general. Okay, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about spirituality, which is more about you going direct to the spirit world, direct to your guides, direct to your loved ones, not through any intermediary, not through a psychic, not through a medium, not through anybody else. You go direct. You can do that because you already have your higher mind that everyone's born with, that is the connection point between you and the other side. So once you understand that, oh, I have a higher mind, everyone does, I should start to listen to that part of me. I should start understanding that it's always been guiding me. I should start paying attention and listening less to my physical mind when it comes to subjects like the spirit world, and understand that it doesn't know everything, right? That I have access to this profound inner knowing, simply because I'm a soul. Now, if you don't believe you're a soul, and you really believe you're only this physical being that you are, then you can just turn this off right now and not listen to me, okay? Because none of this would make any sense. But if you can feel it in your heart, even if you don't fully understand it, if it resonates as truth, again, even if you don't fully understand it, that is your soul nudging you to say, this is it. This is your truth. Because that's how it communicates, folks. It just gives you this feeling of curiosity, fascination. Even if your logical mind's going, what? I don't get it. But your emotional reaction, again, it can be as subtle as curiosity, is a positive sign sent to you by your higher self. It's saying, come this way. Come and explore this. Let's look into this. Let's go in this direction. Because the higher mind, the higher self, speaks in terms of emotion, positive emotion, like love, excitement, curiosity, fascination, right? Joy. And you don't know why, but you feel good about something. That's your higher self. It doesn't chatter on and complain and be negative like your physical mind. Higher mind is always positive. It gives you information. And even if it gives you information that may be on a neutral level, you might say would be distressing, it's still not going to be negative. In other words, it could say something to you like, you might want to be careful with that person that you just met. You might get that knowing all of a sudden. That would come from your higher mind. Unless you're a chronically negative, fearful person who's always thinking like that, right? If you're one of those people that you meet somebody and immediately you think, oh, this person is going to rip me off, or this person is going to hurt me, then yeah, you can't trust that knowing that comes in, because the higher mind's truth, which is always 100% pure and accurate, is going to be filtered by your beliefs, by your trauma, by your limiting definitions of reality. So if you've got a lot of those limiting beliefs, then that means what's coming through from your higher self is going to be distorted. Okay. Fortunately, not everybody is that distorted, and even people who are have their moments when they can get a clear message. But you have to understand how reality works, how your system works, how you as a soul function. How do you expect to continue a relationship or have spirit communication if you don't even know who the hell you are or how this all works? This has all been clouded in secrecy and made to seem like you have to study for years or, be some gifted, metaphysical guide or being or God almost, right? And it's not that complicated. It depends on how you are structured in your own belief system. That's really it. Some people don't have many limiting beliefs. Those people, spiritual development is like almost a snap of a finger. And it has nothing to do with their level of education. It does nothing to do with their socioeconomic background. That plays nothing. There's no influence at all. Your clarity emotionally is what defines your level of spiritual maturity or evolution, right? That's it. That's it. If you don't have any fear, no limiting beliefs, you are a loving person, you love yourself as unconditionally as you are capable of, and you love others that way, you are engaged with life, you have friends, you have family, and yeah, I know sometimes friends family especially, are kind of mixed up. I get it, right? A lot of people have family members that they are not in good terms with. That aside, if you're someone that has healthy relationships and connections, because as many of you know, your friends become your real family for a lot of people, right? I know that's been the case for me and many of my clients, thousands of my clients. But if you have those connections and you are not running a lot of fear programs and you are at least neutral about many things that happen in your life, you don't go right into fear and you don't go right into panic mode, then you are a clearer channel. You are going to have an easier time listening to your higher mind and your higher self. And even if your physical mind is still kind of loud, because I met people like that, it's not going to be as difficult for you to switch over because you don't have all this distortion going on. Can you see what I mean? Like you don't have all your filters are not clogged with limiting beliefs and insecurities and trauma. And this is why spiritual development is really the same as personal development. In a way, you can't really separate the two because if you spiritually evolve, then that means on a personal level, you've evolved too because you're a happier person, you're more in touch with who you really are. You are able to engage with others in this world with grace and ease and joy. You are able to attract positive relationships to you because within you, you feel positive. Because the people you meet are only mirroring to you what you believe about yourself. So if you feel like you're only meeting people who take advantage of you or rip you off or hurt you, then that's what is going on within you. Either you're afraid that people are going to do that or you yourself are doing that. Because as above, so below. As within us, so without, meaning is pushed out here. So what's showing up in your world is telling you what's going on within you. So the only real demon, because people are always afraid about demons when you talk about the spirit world, the only real demons are your own inner demons that then manifest in the physical world as people or experiences for you to be afraid of or for you to be hurt by. But it's all an inside job. Now, I'm not saying that things cannot happen to people seemingly randomly, because that can and will happen. It's kind of what spirits call the kind of the gamble of life. But that is more the exception than the rule. That's only to keep things a little bit like interesting. So it's not like your life is like robotic or something. And yet at the same time, if you understand that whatever happens to you can be used as fuel to catalyze your own growth, you don't have to look at it as something negative, but look at it as something that you could use to your advantage. Everything that happens to us, even the worst tragedy, can be turned to something that could benefit us or others. It's up to us to find a way. It doesn't mean you're going to celebrate that tragedy. Like in the case we're talking about life after death, then we don't want to celebrate the physical loss of our loved ones, of our partners or family members or friends. We're not talking about that. We're talking about turning that into something that is still a blessing for our growth, for our learning, for our expansion, and finding a way to make something good out of it for ourselves and others, because we can do that no matter what's happening. You either do that, or what's the alternative? Let it lead to your complete breakdown and downfall. Let it make you a bitter, miserable, unhappy, depressed person. You can do that, but to be honest with you, that's the easy way. That's easy, to go negative, to go dark, to go into despair. That doesn't take anything at all. You just surrender and give up and say, I've had it. There's no growth there. There's no blessing there. There's only more negativity, piled on more negativity, but that's your free will choice. You are imbued with all the powers of the Creator because you're an extension of God's source, or whatever you want to call that consciousness that is the universe. You are an extension of that. However, people who feel like they're victims do not believe that. They don't believe it at all. And here's the interesting thing to me, because I've been in this field for 38 years and I've seen so many people in over these years, right? And the people who call themselves spiritual seekers are sometimes the most distorted, and to be honest with you, because they have this knowledge, or if they've taken workshops, or if they've practiced certain things, they've read all the books, or at least many of them, and so they believe that they're further ahead. And yet when I've been out in the world teaching, I often feel like those people are the more confused ones. And the people who are brand new to this, who haven't taken a workshop, who don't know all these things, because they're teachable, they more understand that, hey, I'm just open, I'm exploring this. They're the ones that oftentimes just take off. And that always like shocks me, until the other side said to me, yeah, because a lot of people who are spiritual seekers and doing this a long time just assume that it's about having this knowledge, or taking workshops, or whatever they've done, and they haven't done the inner work. But the true litmus test for how farther along you are, and again, we're not saying that this is a contest or a race and you got to get there fast, but if you're really trying to measure, like, where are you on your path, is how do you feel living in your own skin? Are you happy in your life? And yes, I know some of you've lost your loved ones and you're still grieving. So I'm not expecting you to be happy right now. But you have to know that you can make contact and get on the other side of your grief and live your life still with them. And while they won't be in a body, they can still share the journey with you. And they want to, because this is a rare experience for them too. Because very, very, very few people in a body are open to continuing that relationship and letting the other side live through them and with them. And if that sounds interesting to you, if that is something that feels good to you, then by all means, join our program, Be Your Own Medium on School, or learn about at least what this is about. Watch all of our videos. I don't know how many videos I have at this point, almost 190, I think. But you can learn everything you need to learn just on our channel, seriously. And if you want to go deeper and you need more help, then join our program. Because this isn't complicated. What is challenging is that you have to corral your physical mind and let it stop being in control of your life. You have to put it in the passenger seat and have you and your higher mind be more in the driver's seat. Okay. In other words, you need to start letting your intuition guide you, because that is what will give you a life of magic and miracles, not the physical mind. Are you kidding? The physical mind doesn't believe in miracles. The physical mind believes you have to work hard, that you can't trust people. It believes in scarcity, in limitation. It believes in death, because in its view, if your loved one is physically no longer here, then your physical mind says, well, they're gone. I don't see them, they're gone. So you can't expect that part of you to believe that you're communicating with your loved one, even if you're getting all these signs, hearing them, seeing them. It doesn't matter. Your physical mind is just going to literally just, fold its arms and just go, no, don't believe it. Can't be true, because it's not physical. Okay. So you can't ever expect your logical physical mind to be on board. The most you can expect is that it stops yelling at you or telling you it's negative or it's wrong or it's scary. In other words, the most you can expect is it just quiets down. And it just once in a while goes, "Are you sure?" Like, and that's okay. Be honest with you. I feel that that's healthy, that you have a part of you that goes, "All right, but maybe you should look into that a little bit," right? That's fine. But if it's constantly shutting it down and saying, "You're crazy, you better watch out, like, don't do that," that's what you're needing it to get softer and quieter. Okay. But I would never tell anybody to always 100% just listen to what they feel they got intuitively, right? Especially in the beginning, because you don't know. Again, because your filters with your limiting beliefs could be really clogged up. So garbage in, garbage out, you know? I mean, if your those filters and you'll know, be honest with yourself. You know if you've got fears or trauma you haven't processed or limiting beliefs because your parents maybe told you things like, like the afterlife doesn't exist, or you're not a good person or whatever. Okay, you know that enough about yourself, whether you're a glass half full person or a glass half empty person, all those things. So if you know yourself, then you know what you're up against. But again, even if you've got some distortions going on, it doesn't mean your higher self is not communicating with you. So trust the positive impulses. All I'm saying is don't necessarily buy all the information you're getting through your those filters unless you know you're clear. But the basic emotional impulse, that doesn't have to go through filters as much. You follow me? So if you something feels good, even if you've got distortions going on, limiting beliefs going on, generally speaking, and I'm only saying that because there's always exceptions, generally speaking, you can trust that because that's just a pure impulse. Like, well, that feels good. Because spirit guides people who are very distorted. I know that because I've worked with them my like 38 years. So I know that's how the other side works. It does its best. It's just that the messages that come through will be clearer if your beliefs are neutral, are empowering, or at least not limiting. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. You understand that? Like that is just the given. That's just the dynamics. Okay. But our loved ones, they don't go anywhere when they, quote, physically die. Okay. I don't like to use the word die, but because everything is right here. You just can't see the dimensions layered upon dimensions. But there is no over there. There is no other side, not really, meaning that distant. Okay. It's all enfolded into this reality. And what's happening on the planet, as you may have noticed, especially given interviews like Stephen Bartlett had with this neuroscientist, that people like her are having their own awakenings, their own connections with loved ones in the spirit world. This is only going to increase. Okay, it's like the hole in the dam that now it's leaking and it's just going to get bigger. That hole will get bigger and bigger until there's no dam anymore. Okay, but initially, of course, there's resistance. You're dealing with people in our world that have been brainwashed into believing what those in power, including, I'm sorry, but church and its doctrine and its dogma, have been trying to control humanity. It's all been about power and money, resources. You can't be that naive in thinking that, everyone who in charge, whether again, politicians now, nobody believes in politicians anymore, but even people are pulling back from organized religion because they see that that's as distorted, if not more so, than politics. Because religion has been around longer. Let's face it, religion has been around longer than the United States. It's been around for thousands of years. So that's the original power structure, was the clergy. So if you understand that, okay, and understand therefore that your higher mind is your connection to source, to God, it's a part of who you are, and that if you make that your goal to more follow the impulses that come intuitively, that just drop in to your awareness, because that's how intuition goes. Intuition is natural, it's organic, it just happens without trying. Psychic ability involves effort. It does involve a sort of trying, like it can involve using tarot cards, for example, or divination of other sorts, and whether runes, those stones that people would throw, or reading tea leaves and all that. That is something that you actively do. It's not something that just happens spontaneously. But you, because you're a soul, have access to that spontaneous intuition, because I promise you, if you weren't occasionally at least following that impulse without probably realizing you were doing so, your life would have been more chaotic than it's already been. And again, I say that having worked with thousands of people at this point in my life, and seeing the difference between people, that some people have been living intuitively without even knowing they were living intuitively, because they just trust their gut instinct. They just knew something was right for them, and that it turned out to be right for them, or they knew something wasn't quite resonating and they just stayed away from it. It wasn't like they had a bad feeling necessarily about the opportunity or the person. They just knew they didn't feel drawn to them or the experience, and therefore they were going with something else. Okay, that's how intuition is. That's how you and I are meant to live, just knowing what we need to know when we need to know it, and doing what we know feels right to do in the moment again, and not second guessing, not going, well, let me think about it, let me analyze it, let me write down the pros and cons on a piece of paper. The more you do that, like analyzing it, you're not using your intuition. You can't do it that way, because intuition is right there in the moment. I mean, literally split second in the moment, where you just know, oh, I know this is right. And I know you've had that experience. Don't tell me you haven't, because everybody has had it at one time or another, where they just knew something was right for them without anybody, saying a word, without doing any analysis. They just knew it, and they went, yeah, wow, and I was right. So here's the deal. You had that even once. You know what that feels like, my friend. So recall that knowing, because it's in your cellular memory, I promise you. That's the call of your soul, the wisdom of your higher self. So remember what that feels like, and make a decision right now that you're not going to live any other way than following that knowing. That you won't just make a decision because you feel like, oh, I should just make a decision. But you say, no, I'm going to wait. Doesn't feel like it's time for me to do this. I'm going to wait till I know within my being that this is the next step that's best for me. There is a lot of wisdom in waiting and knowing that the divine timing will show itself to you. Divine timing is the timing of your higher self, which knows when you should take action, and is going to let you know the exact moment to do it, and not sooner and not later, but in the now. Why do you think that saying that's so popular has gone around, that saying, like, all your power is in the now, or even that book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now? It's because everything is happening right here, right now, and your intuition is firing on all cylinders, always in the now, and giving you immediate, instant insight every moment. The question is, are you paying attention? And the question is, are you going to let your physical mind run the show, or are you going to give it a break? Because this is why, by the way, you're stressed and confused, is because your physical mind is about ready to just have a breakdown because you've been asking it to do a job it was never designed to do, which then creates distortion within you. But once you let go of the need for control and understand that your higher mind is the one that's already been guiding you, and in that sense, is the one that's in control because it's trying to set things up for you, it's trying to show you the path of least resistance, it's trying to bring to you the people that you could best interact with, that you could best be friends with, or maybe go into business with. It's doing all of that. But if you insist on doing the paralysis of analysis, then you're going to miss those opportunities. You're going to basically miss out on your life, which sadly, I would say most people do, because they don't understand what we have just shared with you in these last 45 minutes or so. Go back and watch this again, because here's the other deal with why people fail. Because they'll listen to somebody like me, and I'm not the only one teaching these things, but they'll listen to a spiritual teacher like me and say, okay, I know what she's saying. And they think they got it, but they don't. Most of you don't. I know because I've been teaching this for going on 3 years now, and some of my students, takes them a few years to realize, oh, I think I know what you're talking about now. Because again, your physical mind has been running the show, and you've got all these beliefs and all these programs going. So what I just said to you, if it's something new to you, first time around, you only heard my words. Second time you watch this or listen to me, you'll have a different take on it. You'll understand a little bit more. Third time, it'll begin to sink in. You'll kind of have some realizations. Some of you will, because this is what happens to my students, some of them will go, I don't remember you saying that, because you weren't ready to hear it. Not the first time, not the second time, maybe not the third time. All of this information, if you really let it sink in and then you take action, not just listen, not just watch a video, but go take action, like go do the thing, only then is this all going to make sense. Only then is your life going to heal and change. Because it's not about consuming content. That is nothing, folks. That's just first level, surface level. And even listening to it the second time or the third time is just getting in. It's like breaking into your skull, right? You have to marinate yourself in this kind of information. You have to apply yourself. You've got to be persistent. I wish there was an easier way, but you're up against centuries of limiting beliefs and programming and whatever trauma and abuse and whatever the hell else you accepted as your truth. You got to dismantle that. The good news is you can do this. You're living in the time of the awakening where there's more people breaking free of this. And because of that fact, because there are more people, you can ride the wave of that. There's a momentum that will carry you. Okay. It's easier now, but you still got to do the work. You still got to be fiercely honest with yourself and take stock lovingly and go, wait, I really need to let go of this fear of, let's say, rejection or judgment or betrayal or whatever your greatest fear is. You've got to be willing to completely obliterate that. Until you are, then you can't really live your highest and best life. And I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much people love you or adore you. And like none of that matters. In the end, all you take with you is just like from that movie Ghost, as Patrick Swayze said, that all you take with you is the love. That's all that matters in the spirit world. That's the currency. How well and how often did you love? And it's not just one person. It's not just your parents. It's not just your siblings. It's not just your partner. How many other people did you let in and love and let them love you, even if they did let you down? Because that's baked into the journey. We're all here to learn forgiveness and to understand that even if someone hurts us emotionally, that we can survive that, that we can turn it into us gaining more compassion. And most of all, how much and how well did you love yourself? And we're not talking about narcissism. We're talking about truly loving yourself unconditionally. Because if you truly love yourself unconditionally, here's the test. Nobody can really hurt you emotionally. Impossible. Impossible. If you truly love yourself just as you are, perfectly imperfect as you are, then nobody, no matter how they treat you, no matter what they say to you, no matter what they do, can emotionally leave a mark on your heart. That's the power of love. You're impervious to negativity. You're impervious to hurt. Yeah, you might not like it that they were rude or hurtful or, again, betrayed you. Not saying you're going to like it. We're just saying it won't destroy you. It will actually solidify your strength and make you more resilient and able to look at them with compassion and say, oh my, I guess they just don't know how to love themselves. And so you forgive them. Okay. That's true spiritual mastery. That's what it's about. Okay? And you can do that. I know you can do that. If it wasn't possible, you wouldn't be listening to me. You would already turned the channel or walked away. Okay? But if you've listened to me to this point, that means you can do it and you can feel it. So right now, since you've stayed with me this long, I want you to close your eyes and tune into that part of you. Feel into the higher self that you are. It's you. There's nothing special you got to do with this except be open to being in your energy fully and just feeling yourself, feeling your energy, feeling your vibration right now. Even if you feel, let's say, in a negative space, that's okay. It's still you. Even if you're feeling happy, it's still you. Even if you're feeling confused, this is still you. It's all good. You're perfect. Even if you're struggling, even if you're lost, even if you're angry, even if you feel hurt, even if you feel beaten down, this is just a temporary version of you right now in a body. You are so much bigger than this. So I'm inviting you to expand your awareness and really feel into your higher self. Feel into this true you. And maybe for some of you, this is the first time. Maybe some of you, you've been doing this for a while. It doesn't matter where you are on the scale of this. This is not a competition. This is not a race. This is life eternally presenting itself, helping us to grow and evolve and break free and grow and expand to a new level that we weren't able to do before. Certainly not when we're on the other side. You're always advancing, always becoming more. And when you're in a physical body like you are now, you are going to occasionally hit up against a roadblock or an obstacle or a wall. Who cares? That's part of the challenge. Laugh at it. Just say, oh, isn't this interesting? I get to deal with this problem, so-called problem. I know I'll find my way around it or through it. This is what makes existence interesting and exciting. How boring it would be if everything always happened instantly, easily, effortlessly. because that's how it is in the spirit world. And trust me, when you're there in the spirit world, after a while, you long for a little bit of a challenge. Just like a tennis player who's only playing tennis players who are maybe in below their level, right? Who are not challenging them. Like, the game's not fun unless you get to be challenged, unless there's an opportunity to push yourself a little bit, stretch yourself a little bit. So whatever's happening in your life is being presented to you by your higher self for your growth. So even if it's not something that you would prefer, even if it's something that you look at it and go, God, I can't stand this, let it be what it is. See it as an opportunity for you to grow and become stronger, become more of your authentic self, because that's why it's there. You can transform it. And in doing so, when you come out the other side of it, there is such a sense of exhilaration and triumph. There's nothing better than having broken through some barrier and realizing once you've done it, like, wow, that was great. Let's go at it again. And that's why you will have other lives, other challenging experiences, and you'll welcome it. So we're just inviting you to look at it that way. Because if you do that, your physical mind, your logical mind, will start to relax. You'll start to realize, oh, she can do this. Oh, that wasn't maybe as hard as I thought it was going to be. And you're going to develop the confidence that you can do, be, and have and achieve whatever you really need. Not, notice I didn't say what you want, because wants are often from the logical ego mind. You want to manifest what you truly need, because only those needs being met are what's going to truly fulfill you. Because people can manifest a lot of things they want, but if they don't, for example, get, let's say, the love that they need, it's all hollow. We know many people, you probably know many people like I do, who on material level have their basic need, those needs met, but they don't have their need for love completely checked off the list yet. And so they're still unhappy. So you want to get your needs met, and your higher self is the one that knows exactly what you need. Even when your physical mind thinks it does, it may not really. So you want to lean into what your higher self knows is perfect for you. Right. So take another breath in. I want you to really feel into your higher self. Go both deep within yourself, at the same time expand your energy as wide as you can, as wide, wider still, so that you fill the room you're in. You fill the space you're in, that your energy is on either side of you, right, your left, front, your back, below you, above you. It's just everywhere. Consciousness has no limits except the ones that you define there to be. So in this video, as in all of my videos, I'm doing my best to activate your own inner knowing and awaken your soul. But now it's up to you to take the guided action, to let your intuition just show you the way, or to keep doing it the way you may have been doing it up till now and just analyzing everything. and the quality of your life will reflect your choice. Right. That's all we have for you today. If you're interested, again, in learning how to be your own medium, join our program on School. We'd love to welcome you there. We're about to start our next workshop, Awakening Clairvoyance. Will start in September, and only our members are going to get a special deal, special bonus for signing up early. So if you want that, and our workshops are not expensive; they're very affordable. But we're going to have a real special bonus for our amazing members. So if you want in, you know what to do. Be your own medium on School. Okay, we'll see you there. Take care. Till next time. Bye-bye.